Hello Pandora lovelies, and welcome to a very special Art of Pandora YouTube episode. I'm Lena from Pandora Shark, and I'll be exploring the new Stranger Things Pandora collaboration. This is a great collection for anyone who loved the TV show, 80s pop culture nostalgia, or for anyone who'd like some unique charms for their Halloween or spooky bracelet designs. To recap for anyone that hasn't seen the series, it follows the journey of 4 boys and their families who lose their friend Will to a strange parallel universe called the Upside Down. They discover a mysterious girl called 11 that escaped from a government-controlled research facility, and she knows how to communicate with anyone trapped in the Upside Down. The boys play Dungeons and Dragons as their hobby, and inadvertently their search for their friend Will becomes like a live-action play of the game. As someone who initially doesn't play Dungeons and Dragons, I wasn't quite sure about this show, but once I started watching it, I was absolutely hooked. I think because there's so many relatable characters, the 80s references and nostalgia is absolutely amazing and real, and I was really caught by the suspense created by the show's creators. Of course, we also have Millie Bobby Brown, who plays 11, the character, and we know that she got her acting break from that show, and for those of us who have been longtime Pandora fans, we'll know that Millie Bobby Brown was actually the face of the Pandora Me campaign when it was initially released. So, without further ado, let's jump into the world of the small town of Hawkins, which becomes inextricably linked to the shadow world of the Upside Down, a parallel universe, and let's have a look at some of these amazing charms and bracelet designs and rings and earrings that capture this crazy, suspenseful 80s nostalgia world. So first up we have the Stranger Things Clasp snake chain bracelet. So this is going to retail for around £80, and it's a snake chain bracelet with the room for the clips, the stoppers, and it's sterling silver, and it's got the red enamel logo of Stranger Things on the actual clasp. I think it's really cool. If you're going to potentially get a lot of charms, I think this bracelet would absolutely fit perfectly if you're someone that's planning on getting the collection, or it will also pair really nicely with the next bracelet that we're about to have a look at too. So let's have a look at the next one, which is called the Stranger Things Friendship Bracelet. I really like this one because it does have that friendship bracelet kind of vibe with those beads from the, late 80s, early 90s that a lot of us had on our bracelets. But it's got that iconic quote, "Friends don't lie," which is how the 4 boys, well, the 3 boys, I suppose, because Will was already in the Upside Down, the 3 boys, when they find 11, they sort of are explaining friendship to her, and that's a really important quote that kind of follows through the actual series. So you can see it's also broken up with the heart and that kind of jagged red enamel line that represents the transition into the Upside Down world or the alternate universe. And it's also got the dark yellow enamel there as well, and that kind of lightning shaped bead that's in amongst the "Friends don't lie." And I presume the sort of cubes turn and it says "Friends don't lie," so it doesn't matter if they spin around because it's going to say the same thing the whole way around, which is great. I think this bracelet would pair really nicely with the next one as well. You can see on the clasp it also says Pandora, and it's really cool. It's got Netflix even engraved on the clasp too, because obviously Stranger Things is a Netflix series. So I think that's really cool. So this one's going to retail for £120. And I think it's a really interesting design from Pandora. It's something a little bit different with the beads. And it's also glow in the dark. Those little enamel, the yellow enamel bit will glow in the dark. So that's very cool. Quite a few of these charms glow in the dark too. So speaking of which, our next charm, which is the Stranger Things Glow in the Dark Heart charm, shows you that kind of break between the 2 worlds, between our world and the Upside Down, and you can see the monster kind of coming through and coming out, which is a symbol of the places in the show where that does happen, like the tree, for example, in episode 1, and the research facility. You see that sort of the same kind of imagery. So we've got the sterling silver heart there, you have this salsa red crystal, and then the glow in the dark enamel that goes around as the tentacles, which I think is very, very cool, the blue tentacles of the monster. And that's going to retail for £55. I quite like the heart charm. I think it's going to be well received in terms of not just Stranger Things, but also spooky bracelet designs for Halloween. I think that one's got a nice scary quality to it. All right, let's have a look at our next charm, which is a dangle. It's the Stranger Things Hellfire Club Dice Dangle Charm. So you can see the letters stand for Hellfire Club, and then you've got the actual dice, which is a red Murano glass, and it's got the shimmering gold enamel, different symbols. You can see it's also got 11 on the dice as well, so obviously representative of Millie Bobby Brown's character, and also their dice that they play with also represents the other kids that are part of that research facility and the other kids that can communicate with the Upside Down. So I think that's really cool too. So if you're really into the show, you'll appreciate a lot of the little details that they have included on this, the little Easter eggs that Pandora likes to include, and then that sort of scary looking demon character that's attached with the enamel also is the logo of the Hellfire Club that we know that the boys then join in high school in future series, I should say. Okay, so our next dangle, which is my favorite one of the collection, I love this one, I think it's really cool, is the Stranger Things Glow in the Dark Upside Down Dangle Charm. So I really like the fact that the bail of this and then the outside sterling silver ring, looks like it's been hacked at a little bit by a monster or clawed. It's got that quality to it. It looks like, the Demogorgon has come and actually tore up the charm, which is cool. It's a spinning dangle too, so it represents the world that the boys are currently in as they search for their friend Will, and you can see them riding on their bikes there on the first layer of the charm with the silver, and you can see Mike with 11 on the back on the first bike, and then you have Lucas, and then you have Dustin on the back. And interestingly, you can make out their actual shapes as characters too, which I think is really cool. And you can see them riding through the woods as they do to try and find their friend Will. You've got this beautiful glittery red enamel too that makes up kind of the night sky and the red woods, which looks really ominous. And then I presume on the back, I think it's actually going to have green glittery or dark green glittery enamel to show the two worlds coexisting with one another, and it spins to show one or the other. So I think that's really, really cool. I'd be interested to see if the back has the boys on the bikes or if there's something else. So I'm very excited to see when they actually release this, what it looks like. So that's going to retail at £60. And I think, this is my favorite charm out of all of them because I just think it's so cool. There's so many little features on it. And then the bail on this side that we can see says Pandora. And I'm wondering whether it says Stranger Things or anything on the other side of the bail too. I'd be interested to see. Okay, so the next charm that we have is one of our monster charms. So it's the Stranger Things movable Demogorgon charm. So this is our Dungeons and Dragons monster from the first season. Retailing at £60, you've got the sterling silver charm, clear cubic zirconia in the center to make up that center part. And then you've got the pearlescent red enamel that goes around the sort of flower edges of the Demogorgon. We know it opens and closes. I presume the body and the head are kind of going to move, and the legs maybe. Bit like a bobblehead kind of thing. And you've got its sterling silver, like very spooky body and features. So I think that's very, very cool. Definitely one for the Halloween bracelet, that one. Very scary. Our next charm is also a Demogorgon charm. It's quite a large one, so this would probably be really nice for a necklace. If you're a big fan of the show, wearing it as a necklace I think would be really cool. Stranger Things Demogorgon Large Dangle Charm is what it's called, retailing at £100. And you've got the sterling silver. As you can see, you've got the cubic zirconia that go around the bail, and then you've got the red cubic zirconia in the center of each of the petals of the Demogorgon's kind of shape. And then you've again got clear cubic zirconia that go around the center as well. So this is going to be a spooky and sparkly necklace or charm if you're purchasing this one. The next one is another one of my absolute favorites, and I think I'm definitely going to get this one for my Halloween bracelet, and it is the very famous Christmas tree lights. So it's called the Stranger Things Glow in the Dark Run Dangle Charm. But we know, of course, those of you that have watched the series, that Joyce, Will's mother, puts up Christmas lights to try and communicate with Will because he seems to be able to communicate through the lights in her house. So she buys all the Christmas lights that she can, and then she stitches them up sort of across her wall with the alphabet. And when she's trying to communicate with her son, what he tells her is to run, and hence the letters RUN across the 3 different Christmas tree light bulbs. So I think this one's really cool, and the fact that it glows in the dark, I think, is just that extra bit of awesomeness that adds a huge amount to this particular charm. So this is definitely one for my Halloween bracelet. I look forward to adding that. It's going to be £70 as well. So it's also got enamel in terms of how it's made. The lights are enamel in yellow, green and pink. And then in my description, it says it's got clear cubic zirconia, so I'm wondering whether we've got that somewhere on the back. So that'll be interesting to see when it actually comes out. And I think this will sway quite nicely as a charm on a bracelet. So yeah, I'm excited to see this one in real life. And I hope that they're quite big because I think they'd make a nice feature on a bracelet. So that's really cool. All right, the next one is our ring. Stranger Things, Friends Don't Lie, splittable ring. So this is one of those friendship rings. So if you listen to the podcast, we've talked a little bit about friendship rings, and Katie and I have talked about the fact that we often don't share our friendship rings because we want both pieces of them. But if you do want to share this and you have someone who is a fan of the show, I think it's perfect. Again, it's got that really cool aspect to it where it's almost like it's been hacked up by the monster in the Upside Down. So that's really, really cool. It's got that iconic inscription from the show as well. So if you're getting the bracelet, it might be really cool to pair that with the ring. And it is splittable, so you can have the 2 parts, or you can share a part, or you might even be able to stack it with other Pandora rings. I don't know if you'd be able to stack it through the center, or one each side might look really cool too. So that's an interesting feature of this collection in terms of rings. The next ring that we have is the Stranger Things Demogorgon ring. So that same kind of evil flower kind of design that we have going with the sterling silver and the clear cubic zirconia, retailing at £70. I think it looks cool because it almost looks like a flower from far away. But then as you get closer, you can see the scary sort of evil features created by the enamel. So I think that, you know, is an interesting touch from Pandora, because a lot of their rings, you know, are really pretty and gorgeous, and then this one's got that pretty aspect to it, but then the closer you get, the scarier it looks. So I really like that about these kind of more subtle Demogorgon rings. And then the earrings that we have next, the stud earrings, which are the Stranger Things Demogorgon stud earrings, retailing at £70. They've got that same quality, so they go perfectly with the ring. They'd make for a great set, and you could have the necklace with that as well. And so that brings us to the Stranger Things collection close. I'm very excited, as I said, for this one. There's a few charms on there that I'm definitely going to be adding to my Halloween bracelet, which I'm very, very excited about. There's also another ring that's called the Stranger Things Hellfire Club ring, and it says on it, roll for your life, but I don't have a picture of that one at this stage. So I'm very interested to see what that looks like. I wonder whether it's going to have the dice on it and then the same Hellfire kind of logo. It's going to retail for £80, but I don't have a picture of that one at this stage. So I'm excited to see what that one looks like. So for me, favorites from this one include the Christmas lights, definitely. That spinnable upside down dangle, I think, is really cool. The dice is interesting as well. I like the different Easter eggs on that dice. And then our Friends Don't Lie bracelet, I really like how unique that is. But if you are a Stranger Things fan, you will definitely appreciate this collection. I think it's got some really interesting, unique designs there, and it brings back some memories of the show. If you watched it a while ago, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that bit. Yeah, so a lovely, eerie, exciting collection to be released by Pandora. And let me know if you are excited for this one, if you were a Stranger Things fan, if you followed along, or are you a more recent watcher of the show. I watched it more recently and I definitely was hooked. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to also listen to our podcast, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.